seja mais um inscrito no canal. E não se esqueça de deixar o seu curtir e like no vídeo.
Venha comigo elucidar um dos maiores mistérios do mundo antigo: a morte do rei Tutancâmon. Desde a descoberta de sua múmia, surgiram rumores de assassinato. Então, radiografias mostraram sinais de um possível ataque. Hoje, novas pistas indicam outra causa de morte. Qual é a verdade por trás da morte de Tutancâmon? Para descobrir, desceremos até a tumba onde sua múmia ainda descansa. Testaremos as armas encontradas em seu túmulo. E com a ajuda da ciência moderna, investigaremos os rumores de seu assassinato. Estamos em busca da verdade e não mediremos esforços para encontrá-la. Em busca da verdade.
This is the death mask of the pharaoh Tutankhamun. It's a stunning feat of craftsmanship and artistry. 24 pounds of solid gold, covered with precious gemstones and minerals. Behind it was the face of a boy, dead at just 19 years old. Hi, I'm Josh Bernstein. I've come here to Egypt to learn about some recent discoveries which may shed light on the mysterious death of the Golden Boy, King Tut.
Nossa jornada começa em Luxor, 720 quilômetros ao sul do Cairo, a capital do Egito. Antes de sua morte, há mais de 3.000 anos, o faraó Tutancâmon governava essa antiga cidade às margens do rio Nilo. Os arqueólogos a chamam de Tebas, seu nome grego. Mas para o rei menino Tutancâmon, essa cidade se chamava Waset. Era o seu lar.
During the time of the pharaohs, Egyptians believed that the Nile symbolized the journey of their lives. The east, where the sun rose, represented birth, and the west, where the sun set, represented death. By crossing the Nile, I'm following the journey of Tutankhamun, as his life came to an abrupt end and his body traveled west to the Valley of the Kings.
A trilha de pistas para desvendar a morte de Tutancâmon começa aqui. E se existe alguém que pode nos ajudar a encontrar a verdade, é o meu bom amigo Dr. Zahi Hawass.
Boy King this time.
Golden Boy, yes.
Yeah. So here, Valley of the Kings?
Yes.
Why here?
Because this place is silent, it's safe, it can hide the tomb, and it has the pyramid shape. And they decided this could be the burial place for all the kings of the New Kingdom, and King Tut, one of them.
Should we go see his tomb?
Let's go.
Okay.
Na época de Tutancâmon, os faraós egípcios haviam parado de construir pirâmides. Em vez disso, passaram a cavar câmaras funerárias na pedra sob uma montanha em forma de pirâmide. Em 1917, o arqueólogo inglês Howard Carter veio ao Vale dos Reis, intrigado pelos rumores de uma tumba não descoberta. As escavações duraram 4 anos até Carter receber um ultimato. O aristocrata inglês Lord Carnarvon, patrocinador da expedição, financiaria a escavação por apenas mais um ano. Surpreendentemente, naquele ano foi feita a mais preciosa descoberta da história da arqueologia.
Can we enter?
Of course.
Okay. I brought some flashlights for us.
Good.
Em 26 de novembro de 1922, Carter e Carnarvon desceram esses degraus pela primeira vez.
These were the steps that Carter led, and so this hasn't changed at all.
Lá embaixo, Carter fez um pequeno buraco na parede da tumba e vislumbrou um tesouro incalculável.
And when he looked inside, and Lord Carnarvon asked him, "What do you see?"
And he said,
Wonderful things, wonderful things.
Do outro lado da parede, havia mais de 5.000 artefatos. Era um dos mais espetaculares tesouros da antiguidade já encontrados, amontoados em pequenas salas. A primeira sala após a entrada é chamada de anexo. Hoje, ela está vazia e a entrada de turistas é proibida.
I never entered in the treasury or the annex in a camera before. This is the first time.
Just for you.
But I have to tell you that you can imagine that this was also stored with this gold artifacts and was in layers because they dug that deeply, then it can take most of the artifacts.
Ao lado da câmara funerária existe outro aposento que ainda contém relíquias da época dos faraós.
This is the treasury.
These are actual from the tomb here.
Yeah, well, things was left over. They even look at hieroglyphic.
Yeah. All the gold is gone.
Then you can
We have the.
touching what.
That's pretty cool. Touching the past. So, Doctor, what would this place have looked like?
This was,
right?
the
Filled with
treasury filled of chapels and gold and statues, and it was the most precious place. I think there is no tomb on earth.
A sala do tesouro e o anexo estavam cheios de peças preciosas colocadas ao redor da câmara funerária do rei dourado Tutankhamon.
And it was the most valuable archaeological treasure ever found.
Yes.
Look, Josh, look.
Look at the face. Josh.
Intacto, como no dia que fora descoberto, está o sarcófago dourado do faraó,
Lips, the cobra.
cuja identidade e história imediatamente começaram a intrigar os arqueólogos.
Cobra will bite him. The scenes in this.
Sua aparência elegante não era a de um velho e sábio governante, mas o retrato de um jovem. E seus tesouros estavam em uma tumba pequena demais para um faraó. As tumbas eram construídas pelos faraós em vida e eram enormes, com mais de 100 aposentos. Mas a tumba de Tutankhamon tinha apenas 4 aposentos, indicando que a construção tinha apenas começado. Todas as pistas indicam uma morte que tomou os egípcios de surpresa.
Because he died suddenly.
So this was as much as they could create in the time they had.
When King Tut died, then they had to do things quickly.
Pinturas simples em vez de gravuras sofisticadas também indicam que a câmara funerária foi preparada às pressas.
If you look at this scene, it shows King Tut is buried in his chapel. Look here. And now the people in the cemetery are taking his mummy in the funeral procession to the tomb. And again, if you look at this,
As imagens que cercam o corpo de Tutankhamon mostram sua passagem para a eternidade. Pelas crenças egípcias, essas imagens são essenciais na tumba de um faraó. Mas elas costumavam ser mais elaboradas que essas. Os arqueólogos descobriram um jovem rei, morto sem explicação e preparado às pressas para ser enterrado. Mas as coisas ficaram ainda mais estranhas quando o patrocinador da escavação, Lord Carnarvon, morreu poucos meses após a tumba ser aberta. Declarou-se que a tumba de Tutankhamon era amaldiçoada, para deleite da imprensa internacional. Outras mortes no Egito e ao redor do mundo foram relacionadas a Tutankhamon. A fascinação pela tumba espalhou-se pelo planeta. Nascia a maldição da múmia.
You think that there may be some weird juju?
you know, still with all these discoveries, with all what's happened in the time of the discovery of the tomb, with what's happened to me, there is a mystery about this king. Magic and mystery.
Com o tempo, a crença na maldição desapareceu. Mas o mistério ao redor da morte do rei menino cresceu. Nossa busca por pistas continua fora da tumba. Vamos ao Museu do Egito para ver o que podemos aprender no novo lar dos tesouros de Tutankhamon.
one of my favorite museums.
O corpo de Tutancâmon não foi enterrado apenas em um sarcófago, como vimos na tumba. Havia 3 sarcófagos, um dentro do outro, E dentro deles, cobrindo o rosto do rei menino, estava a espetacular máscara dourada. A diretora do museu, doutora Wafa El-Sadiq, irá nos ajudar em nossa busca por respostas mostrando os tesouros do rei morto.
What's so special? I mean, I see it and it's beautiful, but what's so special to them about gold?
Well, gold was the flesh of the gods, so he became a god when he died. You know, this was not the end. This was the beginning of eternal life. Okay?
Where to begin?
Para os antigos egípcios, Tutancâmon se tornaria um deus. Os tesouros que cobriam seu corpo simbolizavam essa transformação e o protegeriam no pós-vida.
Yes, these were found covering the mummy.
As faixas da múmia continham centenas de joias simbólicas, como o escaravelho, a cobra e o abutre.
What's over there?
Além das joias, a doutora Wafa nos mostra que outras peças da tumba, como luvas e sandálias, em tamanho adulto e infantil, levaram os arqueólogos a estimar que Tutancâmon fora coroado com apenas 10 anos de idade. O rei menino cresceu e tornou-se um jovem adulto. Ele governava a civilização mais avançada da Terra diretamente desse trono.
This is the famous throne of Tutankhamun, and we see him sitting on another throne, and his wife is perfuming him.
O conteúdo da tumba revelou detalhes da vida pessoal do garoto. Ele fora casado com uma meia-irmã. E nenhum de seus 2 filhos sobreviveu ao nascimento. Já aprendemos muito sobre a vida do rei Tutancâmon, mas, sem pistas que revelem a causa de sua morte, nossa busca deve continuar. Deixaremos de lado os objetos de seu cotidiano para investigar os registros da época em que ele viveu. Em um canto lotado do museu, a doutora Wafa nos mostra um documento da época de Tutancâmon.
I think this is the most important documentary stele we have from that time, because it is describing the situation exactly as it was.
This is a very, it's a reality check on, I've got temples that haven't been cleaned, I've got gods that haven't been worshipped, I've got priests who've been unemployed, right? Isn't that kind of what this is addressing?
Yes, about the temples.
A estela não menciona a morte do faraó, mas descreve uma crise durante seu reinado. Tutancâmon tinha um grande problema nas mãos.
This is more important than gold and silver and precious objects.
Really?
Yes.
All the beautiful stuff we just saw, this is more important?
If I have a text like this, you know, this is for me much more the gold.
Because it's insightful.
It's history. It's history.
Temos uma nova pista para seguir. Talvez possamos resolver esse mistério, explorando os registros escritos do Antigo Egito deixado por escribas e faraós. A seguir, iremos reproduzir o selo de Tutancâmon e investigar por que seu nome foi quase apagado da história. Estamos na trilha de um antigo mistério: a morte de Tutancâmon. Cruzamos o Rio da Vida na cidade onde ele viveu e visitamos sua tumba. Agora, veremos que pistas encontraremos nos registros do Antigo Egito.
Unlike some ancient cultures, the Egyptians were prolific writers, especially during the time of King Tut. Perhaps more clues into his mysterious death can be found in the records they left behind, written on papyrus or hammered into stone.
Minha amiga Salima Ikram é especialista em linguagem e escrita egípcia. Ela concordou em dar um curso rápido sobre como os egípcios antigos registravam a história de faraós como Tutancâmon.
Good to see you again.
Great to see you. You made it all right?
Yeah,
This is where we're going?
Here.
Nos arredores do Cairo,
Not too shabby, huh?
Salima dá uma aula de linguagem egípcia.
I thought my office had a good view, but
Uma lição que começa com o papiro.
arts and crafts.
Yep, this is it. Cypress papyrus.
This was always the only plant used.
Yeah. This was the only plant used until about, 1000 AD. First step, cut off a chunk.
Okay.
Mais de 2000 anos antes de Tutancâmon existir, egípcios cortavam essas plantas e a mergulhavam na água.
You let them soak, and you let them soak for several, probably a couple of days.
Oh, so they get waterlogged and brown.
And they're all sort of flexible. Next step,
Yes.
squeeze out
Ring it.
the juice.
This really does feel like a cooking show.
I'm just going to put this in.
And today we're going to make papyrus.
Luckily, the pharaoh's not going to have our head if we don't do a good job.
Okay.
Após serem cortadas e molhadas, as tiras macias de papiro eram esticadas, surradas e colocadas para secar.
Make it all blend and gush.
Oh, Pete, take a peek.
Take a peek.
Look at that. And can you show me how you actually write on papyrus?
Certainly.
Do you have that? Yeah.
This is ochre.
Ah.
Usando corantes naturais como o vermelho ocre e preto carvão, os egípcios pintavam no papiro, criando uma das primeiras linguagens escritas da história.
Okay.
So hieroglyphs started as hieroglyphs? What's the evolution of
Well,
writing?
probably we have sort of pictures, and then it moves on to more the language of hieroglyphs with the sounds and all being much more organized. So, do you know any?
Boy.
Simple one. Ankh sign?
Ox?
Ankh.
Oh, Ankh. Oh, yeah, I know the Ankh.
Okay. This
Yeah,
is what a scribe would be doing. There you go.
So we've got the Ankh of Tutankhamun.
And you know what that means, right?
Ankh is life. Tutankhamun means living being of Amun.
Yeah.
Really?
Living manifestation of Amun.
Yeah,
Well
okay.
done.
But this brush is too thick.
As mensagens de Tutancâmon eram identificadas por seu cartucho. Essa assinatura real era marcada em pedra e aparecia em monumentos oficiais e propriedades reais.
Very fun. Okay, but this, I see what you have over here. This is only half of
This is
how they recorded things.
yeah, because the most important things were, of course, monumental inscriptions on temple walls, and that's where you get your stone. But this is much more beautiful, and it takes far more time to do.
So reading this is the Amun. This is the Tut, Ankh, and then we have some new stuff down here.
Yeah, this is actually his full formal name. We just call him Tutankhamun, but his real name is Heka Unu Shemal.
So if someone wanted to send a message to somebody,
You use
you'd
papyrus.
use papyrus, sort of like the email,
Yeah.
text messages. But
Okay.
if you wanted a formal document, or if a king were trying to record something, it was done in stone.
Yeah, stone was used for formal documentation. So on temples, if a king had fought a special battle, he wanted it recorded for posterity, that would be in stone. And if he celebrated a special festival, that would be done in stone. Because if it was in stone, it would be lasting forever. So if he did it once, it's sort of there for eternity.
Com o desenvolvimento da escrita, os faraós do Antigo Egito passaram a deixar mensagens por todo o território. Estive no Egito muitas vezes e sei que o local preferido pelos faraós para deixar suas marcas fica ao sul de Cairo, nos antigos templos de Luxor.
Karnak Temple is the largest religious complex in the world. And there's no shortage of the pharaohs of Egypt leaving their marks here. So that makes this the perfect place to look for clues about the life and death of Tutankhamun.
Estamos em busca do cartucho de Tutancâmon. O professor Donald Redford irá nos ajudar.
Hey, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Great to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
So you picked this spot, why?
Yes, to introduce Tutankhamun to you. He was over here, and,
Encontramos uma estátua danificada de Tutancâmon. Sinais de que o rei menino deixou sua marca aqui são evidentes. Mas parece que o nome de Tutancâmon foi apagado.
Can we find cartouches of Tut?
no, we cannot. He is conspicuous by his absence, actually, and wherever he is found, his cartouche has been erased.
Really?
Yes,
Gone.
gone. He's been anathematized. He's been damned. His memory has been damned. Because he was tainted with the Amarna heresy.
Ah, okay, this story I know. The Amarna Revolution,
Right.
worshipping the Aten.
Em 2004, visitamos as ruínas da cidade de Amarna. Dentro de uma tumba, encontramos sinais de uma revolução religiosa. Agora sabemos que isso teve um impacto em Tutankhamon. O culto em torno do deus Aton, ou disco solar, foi criado pelo antecessor de Tutankhamon, o faraó Akhenaton. Ele obrigou os egípcios a adorarem o deus Aton e fechou os templos de outros deuses. Muitas pessoas resistiram e o país mergulhou em uma crise. Donald Redford conta que o rei menino tentou reverter essa revolução e alguns acreditam que ele foi morto por isso.
Has he overthrown Akhenaten's beliefs?
In his third year, probably advised by his mentors, he immediately began a program of reopening the older temples, the temples of the gods.
So let me understand this. That when King Tut took over, Egypt was in disarray?
Yes, very much.
Financially a mess?
Yes, it was, yeah.
And in order to restore things to some semblance of order, he said, okay, that whole Amarna thing,
Yes.
Aten, Sundisk, gone.
Yes, to put the whole system back to where it was before Akhenaten had closed the temples.
Sure. That's pretty mature for a boy king, isn't it?
Yes, I'm sure that he had mentors who were behind the scenes.
Just waiting to overthrow what Akhenaten had
Yes,
done.
and urging him on.
Com a ajuda de seus conselheiros, Tutankhamon conseguiu reverter a situação que herdou. Alguns historiadores interpretam isso como um sinal de força política, mas outros acreditam que Tutankhamon atrapalhou os planos de outras pessoas.
So he may have been a little coerced into this.
yes.
He's a young king. He's
think-
got to make the people happy. He's got to make his advisors happy.
That's right, I think he's malleable too. I mean, he's just a kid.
As revelações sobre a Revolução Amarniana e o papel de Tutankhamon em decretar seu fim instigam suspeitas de assassinato. E membros da corte de Tutankhamon seriam os principais suspeitos. Primeiro, havia Horemheb, conselheiro militar de Tutankhamon, que eventualmente se tornaria faraó. Foi ele quem apagou o cartucho de Tutankhamon das paredes do Egito. O outro suspeito era Ai, conselheiro político do rei menino. Ele subiu de posto durante o governo Amarna e foi o sucessor de Tutankhamon após sua morte. Ambos se beneficiariam da morte de Tutankhamon, ou talvez de seu assassinato. A seguir, arqueólogos examinam o corpo de Tutankhamon com um potente aparelho de raio-x. Ele foi assassinado ou sua morte foi acidental? Estamos investigando o mistério da morte do faraó Tutankhamon. Vimos o sarcófago que ainda guarda a múmia do faraó. Descobrimos sinais de uma revolta política e religiosa durante seu reinado. Mas será que ele foi assassinado? É hora de reencontrarmos o único homem do Egito que talvez tenha a resposta, o Dr. Zahi Hawass.
We'll talk about King Tut. Sit in this chair,
Okay?
and I'm sitting here, and I will tell you
Yes.
everything about this king.
Okay.
You know, the mummy has been x-rayed twice and stated that King Tut was murdered.
Yeah, I've been exploring that idea.
You do?
Political, maybe, Horemheb, people.
Yes.
Yeah.
A múmia de Tutankhamon foi radiografada 2 vezes e detectou-se um buraco na base do crânio. O buraco era a prova que os arqueólogos procuravam. A teoria de assassinato por um golpe na nuca tornou-se famosa. Mas, para Zahi, a investigação continuou.
You know, I have good moments in my life in archaeology. Great moments that I never forget. One of them, or the best,
Yeah.
was facing King Tut face to face.
You saw him.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Looking at his face.
Em 2005, Zahi e uma equipe de pesquisadores desceram nas profundezas do Vale dos Reis e removeram Tutankhamon de sua tumba para examiná-lo com um tomógrafo. Quase 2.000 imagens foram captadas, criando um modelo do corpo em 3D. Era a melhor imagem do rei menino já feita e levou por água abaixo os rumores de assassinato.
Geologists found out from examining this that there is no blow on the back of the head.
No, nothing. There's a
That hole,
Yeah.
it was not because he was murdered. That hole came because of the mummification process that was done in Dynasty 18. They open a hole like that to put the liquid inside.
It wasn't like someone hit him with a stick.
No. The second thing, that there is no foul play.
Nothing.
Nothing.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Mas, ao examinar as imagens da tomografia computadorizada, Zahi achou uma nova pista sobre a morte de Tutankhamon. Por mais de 3.000 anos, a múmia de Tutankhamon escondeu um segredo: uma fratura na perna esquerda. Um ferimento que pode ter causado a morte do faraó.
The idea of a murder, it's exciting, it's a myth, it's a mystery. But I am so happy when I went and I did all of this, and I was radiologists when they discovered this. I did not, from the beginning, I said to myself, I hope that this beautiful young golden boy was not really murdered.
So the idea is that he wasn't necessarily killed for political reasons or murdered, but he died for medical reasons.
Yes, this is really what I believe now. This is something like an accident happened to him.
Após a tomografia, arqueólogos começaram a questionar se um faraó poderia morrer devido a uma fratura na perna. Para isso, aprenderemos um pouco sobre medicina egípcia antiga. Em Alexandria, no Egito, existe um médico que sabe como o rei Tutankhamon teria sido tratado há mais de 3.000 anos. Seu nome é Dr. Sameh Arab.
Hello. I got the right office. Okay, Josh, nice to meet you. So I brought this for you. I'd imagine it's pretty exciting to look at the bones of a pharaoh.
Oh yes, it's very exciting.
Yeah? That's a major injury.
Yes, it's a major injury.
Major.
It's a major trauma, yes.
Because from what I understand, to break a femur, it's not easy, right?
No, it's not easy. This is one of the tough bones in the body, and it's covered by a bulk of muscles, so it's not easy to be broken.
Would this be a life-threatening injury?
Well, usually broken bones wouldn't threaten life, but there are two factors that you would expect. With a major trauma like this, I would expect bleeding, much bleeding. And the other point is the infection. How long did it take him to get medical attention? So it has to be a major trauma, either blowing something against him, hitting him with something hard, or falling from a height like a horse or something like that.
Doctor, is there any way that, because I know this is an area of interest for you, is there a way that we could turn back the clock and you could show me ancient Egyptian medicine?
Yes, we can do that. Let's go to the examination room and I'll show you.
Yeah? Okay. I'll play King Tut?
You play King Tut.
Okay. And you'll be the royal physician?
There's Sunu, the royal physician.
Okay.
Os médicos de Tutankhamon estudavam os fenômenos naturais.
This way.
Na natureza, encontravam tratamentos e remédios que poderiam ter ajudado o rei a sobreviver.
I don't feel so good. I feel so good.
And then first of all, we have to stop the bleeding.
Okay.
So
Carne crua era usada para estancar sangramentos.
just put it here and compress.
That's cold.
A casca do salgueiro era usada como analgésico.
Salicin. This I know, which is the primary ingredient in aspirin.
Mas, com uma fratura exposta na perna esquerda, a pior ameaça à vida de Tutankhamon seria uma infecção.
Can I use some items to make this look like a wound? Just give me 2 seconds.
Quando ensinamos medicina rudimentar em minha escola de sobrevivência na selva, ajudamos os alunos a visualizar os tipos de feridas que poderão encontrar, desenhando-os na pele.
It's a little bit worse than just pretend.
So we're going to apply some honey, something we call hygroscopic. It imbibes water, pulls the water out, So this would kill any organism.
This is just regular honey?
Yes, just honey. Here, you can taste it.
Honey. Actually, I know that honey is sterile, right?
Is sterile,
honey
yes.
is sterile. It doesn't.
Yes.
It does not. You
No
can't have any
organism,
infection.
no organism at all can live in honey.
Se nenhum organismo consegue crescer no mel, então não há risco de infecção.
Really? We had penicillin back then?
O mel era usado como antibiótico, assim como o pão embolorado.
Don't worry, this is an antibiotic.
Okay. Wait. I just want to appreciate what you're putting on my leg. Before you put it on my leg. You have moldy bread, just pita, right? Arabic bread, aka penicillin, and honey, and no microbes would get in.
No microbes, yes.
No microbes. Okay.
As infecções eram uma grande preocupação para os egípcios antigos, e eles descobriram várias maneiras de preveni-la.
If you squeeze it and you get the juice out of it, it was discovered that each of these has a special antibiotic-like substance.
Good. Give me the big piece. Give me half of that. This is how you make onion juice. I'm gonna have like the weirdest smelling knee in history. Think I'll live?
Oh yes, you will.
Okay. Between their meat and their mold, their willow bark, their honey, those ancient Egyptians really knew their medicine. And yet, the king died. Which makes you wonder, because to me, the world of the pharaoh is one of protection. He had aides, he had courtiers, he had people who basically were there to do his bidding. And yet we know that this was a massive injury. It's not easy to break your femur and then to die from it. So maybe the king wasn't so protected after all. Makes you wonder what he did to get himself in that position.
A seguir, examinaremos a morte de Tutancâmon a partir das armas que ele usava em vida. E veremos como era o treinamento de um faraó guerreiro. Estamos investigando o mistério da morte de Tutancâmon. Investigamos rumores de assassinato, mas descobrimos que uma fratura na perna pode ter causado a morte do faraó. Para entender o que causou o ferimento, voltaremos ao Museu Egípcio para investigar melhor a vida do rei Tutancâmon. A diretora do museu, doutora Wafa El-Sadiq, concordou em nos receber novamente. Mas dessa vez, ela irá falar sobre Tutancâmon, o guerreiro.
What's this scene on here?
Well, this is showing Tutankhamun and his chariot with his beautiful horses.
Esse famoso baú mostra Tutancâmon caçando e guerreando em cima de uma biga. Ao estudar os objetos encontrados na tumba, os arqueólogos começaram a ver o jovem faraó não apenas como governante, mas como um líder militar em treinamento.
So these are actually Tut's bows.
Yes, these are the bows.
He had a lot of them.
Yes, and we have lots of arrows too.
And these are the bowstrings, and those look like slings. So he was quite an enthusiastic archer.
A tumba de Tutancâmon continha uma fortuna em armas, mais de 50 arcos
Lots of arrows too.
Yes.
e 400 flechas. Mas o destaque da coleção eram as bigas. Tutancâmon foi enterrado com 6 delas. Essa daqui está completamente equipada e é folheada a ouro.
All the elements of the chariot in this one.
So we can assume
This one
that
was used.
he actually stood on this
Yes.
and had these 2 horses pull him
Yes,
as he was either performing a ceremony or firing his bow or both.
exactly. Yes.
Ah.
Ainda quando criança, Tutancâmon teria sido exposto à arte da guerra. Sua tumba estava cheia de armas egípcias antigas, e as pistas mostram que ele estava aprendendo a usá-las.
As pharaoh, Tutankhamun was the commander of the Egyptian army. Perhaps it was his military training or his experiences on the battlefield that brought his life to an early end.
Estamos no mesmo deserto em que Tutancâmon teria feito seu treinamento para encontrar o historiador militar e especialista em armas Mike Loades. Ele concordou em nos mostrar o treino militar do rei menino.
So I've explored the museum and the artifacts found in Tut's tomb.
But what I really want to understand is what it was like to use them. What was a pharaoh expected to know, as you know, as far as these weapons go?
I mean, the pharaoh had to prove himself in war and in hunting. These were high-status activities, and he had to be the pharaoh by right, that he had prowess. So he has to be good, he has to have skill.
So was he trained from childhood?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Trained from at least 7 onwards.
As armas na tumba do rei Tutankhamon não eram mera decoração. É possível que o faraó tenha se acidentado treinando para ser um guerreiro. Mike fará uma demonstração desse arsenal, começando com as armas mais simples.
Well, I think one of the most surprising things about Tut's treasure, Tut's treasure, it's famous, it's the byword for treasure in the world. And he has sticks in there, just simple sticks. And these were weapons. They were weapons in war, they were thrown in war, and they can be used as clubs. But mainly they were a hunting weapon.
Most likely he would have been trained in hitting small game with them.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't care how grown up you are or how much of a prince you are, throwing a stick and trying to hit something's fun.
Let's have fun.
Let's have fun, okay?
Yeah. Oh. Ah.
É improvável que Tutankhamon tenha se ferido aprendendo a arremessar um bastão. Mas com a prática, ele teria ficado forte e habilidoso.
Bravo, good shot.
A tumba de Tutankhamon tinha uma série de armas da época, e o jovem rei teria treinado com todas elas.
Again, to my surprise, in this royal tomb is the sling. It's the really basic, simple sling. This is the weapon of the shepherd boy. It's a really humble weapon, but it's actually quite sophisticated in the way it's made.
A funda era uma arma antiga muito eficiente, mas o aperfeiçoamento militar do faraó veio com a prática do arco e flecha.
Mike, I know that during the time of the pharaohs, no weapon was more deadly than this one.
Absolutely, and it's also the high-status weapon. Okay. Now, this, as you might recognize, is similar to the weapons you've seen in the museum.
It looks a lot like it.
But what you'll have seen in the museum is a completely different shape, which is this. It's a flattened W. And people used to think these were not the same weapons, that they were two different types of bow. Sure. But it's when you string it, it's a little bit of archery magic. It actually changes shape, it metamorphosizes into this angular bow. And then again, when you draw it, it comes up into a beautiful crescent arc. It's an extraordinary piece of equipment.
Mas Tutankhamon cresceu e seu treinamento se tornou mais perigoso. Ele começou aprendendo a caçar, até dirigir uma biga. O objetivo final era combinar todas essas habilidades na arriscada arte de combate sobre bigas. A seguir, testaremos a biga de Tutankhamon e investigaremos uma nova teoria sobre a morte do rei menino. Estamos investigando a morte do rei Tutankhamon e estamos aprendendo sobre o treinamento militar do faraó e seu mais perigoso desafio: dominar a arte de combate sobre bigas.
Doesn't get fancier.
This is gorgeous.
This, from people who were using wooden bows, throwing sticks and slings. 150 years before Tut, they've got this. They're into a new league. It's a terror weapon. What you get is you get somebody driving the chariot, and the high-status person, the pharaoh.
Oh, thank you. Firing.
Shooting.
Can we give it a shot?
Yeah, keep your knees bent and absorb the bounce.
Okay. It's always.
You're gonna have to.
It's always a new thing.
Pick your moment when to lose, because it's quite.
Okay.
Quite.
So we'll just go for. I see you've got a target set up down there. That's what I'm gonna be shooting.
Do it.
Okay. All right.
Já andei em bigas como essa e sei que existem centenas de maneiras de se machucar. Os cavalos podem se assustar. Você pode acertar uma pedra ou simplesmente escorregar. Mas com um pouco de prática, é possível acertar o alvo. Mas Mike Loades conta que Tutankhamon devia fazer um truque ainda mais arriscado.
You think that was difficult? What the pharaoh did, which nobody else did, So he had a regiment of chariot warriors, all with a driver working and shooting. But to put him above that, to give him this godlike status, the pharaoh would gallop solo, on his own, and shoot the bow. Great level of difficulty and a great level of danger.
Like, you know, because I've seen these drawings of Tutankhamun, but I always thought that was more of like political grandstanding, where that was a picture in artwork, but not necessarily real life.
You're quite right. And we can't really know how much is spin and how much is truth. And it's certainly been thought that this feat of tying the reins around your waist is probably not doable. But that's our little challenge, isn't it?
Uma pessoa pode controlar uma biga sem usar as mãos? Vamos descobrir. Os cavalos de Tutankhamon deviam ser bem treinados. Ao contrário desses. Mas, eventualmente, eles pegam o jeito. Parece possível controlar a biga sem as mãos, com as rédeas ao redor da cintura.
Hey Josh, how was that? That was, I think you did really well. That was amazing.
Mas foi arriscado para mim e deve ter sido arriscado para o faraó.
If he were dragged and then run over.
You only need one of those little jolts. And the horse is suddenly shy at something. Especially as you're coming up to draw. Or, look how thin this axle is. Yeah. It's chariots being light, being as light as they can, but there's an inherent danger there. If that goes, then it drops very suddenly on one side. He's pitched over there, still tied on the reins, being dragged around. It's a bad place to be.
Sure. So the idea of this not being just a weapon of war, but being the actual implement that hurt him, there's some validity, there's some truth to that.
Highly likely.
Huh.
Tutankhamon, menino, rei e guerreiro. As relíquias de sua vida e as maravilhas da ciência moderna apresentam uma nova teoria. Morte por um trágico acidente. Faremos uma última visita ao Dr. Zahi Hawass.
Learning a lot about Tut.
Solving the mystery of Tut.
Do you think chariot racing is, I mean, it's painful, I can tell you that. We know he's a warrior, we know he's the commander of the army, we know that he is
a hunter.
A hunter. He's 18, right? So he's 19. So he's probably got a lot of testosterone. You know, he's maybe doing things that I wouldn't do right now. But this could have propelled him to his death. Mm-hmm.
He could be hunting while riding his chariot, or could be in fighting, could be thrown out of it. But that fracture, it was sharp, and I think an infection or a shock maybe could be the cause of death.
Mm-hmm.
Com apenas 19 anos, o rei Tutankhamon morreu de repente, vítima de complicações relacionadas a um ferimento grave, uma fratura no fêmur pouco acima do joelho esquerdo. Todas as provas apontam para um acidente de biga como causa provável. Das profundezas da tumba do rei Tutankhamon aos campos de treinamento militar, os rumores de assassinato se silenciaram e um mistério finalmente foi solucionado.
Muito obrigado pela inscrição no canal e pelo seu curte e like.